Alright, well this is the final result, all painted up. Start removing the taped off areas here. I'm probably going to have to scrape some areas that I couldn't get the tape in. But you're going to see this at the same time I am. Now, before I taped this all off, I took off all the rust and I ground the areas that were going to remain paint free, and I also polished them as best I could on a polishing wheel. This might be a sort of a long process to pull this tape off because it's been on for about a week. There were a couple areas on this vise which was really in very good shape, where I can, right in here, I didn't want to grind down too far, so we're just going to let some of these areas be as they are. I'm going to use this vise, so it's not going to sit in some area of my shop where it's just going to be like sit on a shelf or something like that. I've chosen not to paint all of the areas on this vise that are going to basically have metal to metal contact. That's just this is going to make it hard to use. For example, this area here, that's not going to be painted. Got to put a thin layer of grease on that, and that'll keep it as rust-free as possible in my shop environment here. I like this Rust-Oleum paint. It goes on, well, it goes on pretty easy. However, it's like oil-based paint. You just gotta, when you paint it on, you gotta leave it alone. You gotta let it flow, and that's that. You can't go back with a brush and try to fix anything. You basically have to wait for that area that you painted. You have to wait for that to dry, cure out, and then you can go back and fix anything if that maybe involves sanding down or whatnot. But you got to keep that in mind if you're using an oil-based paint. Now, I used a brush with this. The spray paint would probably work. Just regular Rust-Oleum style spray paint. And I thought about using that, but I couldn't find the color that I was looking for. And I was sort of looking for like a machine gray. And this was the closest thing that I could find to the machine gray, or even the color that it was prior to this. I did forget to mention Justin over at The Good of the Land. He does a lot of this kind of work, so if you're interested in restoration videos, they're all over they're all over YouTube. These were peened over, so there was really no way to pull this apart and then remove it from the bolt here and give it the same profile. So I chose to kind of leave the original machining, but it did clean up the top a little bit, try to smooth that out. That's where a lot of the rust was. And did the same thing with the original bolts, which actually turned out to be sort of like just carriage bolts. The action of this bolt here against the paint is going to scratch that all up. So maybe I'll go back and put a washer or something under there. But I think I'm just going to be pretty gingerly at first here. The paint still sort of has to cure some more. I'm going to leave it out in the sun maybe for a couple hours. I couldn't tell what the original paint scheme was, but the whole vise was gray, and I chose to kind of embellish the lettering on the casting with the black and the red. Again, I'm taking the advice of Scoutcrafter, who he said any tool that has some kind of red in it, he loves, and he thinks it looks the best. So we're going to go with that theme on this one here. All right, well, the jaws, they're really hard. And I cleaned them up as best I could. There were some marks on it that I just didn't want to get out, and I didn't want to take the chance of making it too small and not having it line up. So I just cleaned it up, polished it up best I could. Again, it's going to be used, so not too worried about it. And one last thing, I've been making these flags, and they've all been donated, all the ones that I've made, and this is the latest shop project that I've been working on, and it's kind of taken a backseat to some of the other stuff that I've had to do, but once it gets done, it's going to its new owner. So Nick, if you ever run across this video, this is your flag, and I want to thank you for being a good neighbor. Even though I haven't met you yet, I'm sure I will, and I just wanted you to have this flag and know that I appreciate you, all the stuff that you've done for us as a neighbor, and I hope you like it when you see it.